Hi everyone. Today I will share with you the prose writer of the age from Chaucer to Spenser. So the first is Reginald Peacock, 1390 to 1461. Reginald Peacock may have been born in Wales and perhaps in 1390. He was educated at Oxford and took orders when he became prominent through his attacks upon the Lollards. In his argument, he went so far that he was convicted to heresy, forced to make a public recantation, and had to regain his bishopric Chester. He died in obscurity about 1460. His most famous two works are The Repressor of Overmuch Blaming of the Clergy and the Book of Faith. In his dogma, he strongly supported the ancient usage of the church, and in the style of his argument, he is downright and opinionative. His prose, often rugged and obscure, is marked by his preference for English words in place of those of Latin origin. His books are among the earliest of English controversial works, and thus they mark a victory over the once all important Latin. Then the second is William Caxton, 1432 to 91. The first English painter, William Caxton, was born in Kent about the year 1422. He was apprenticed to a London mercer, and in his capacity of mercer went to Burgess to assist in the revival of English trade with the continent. In Burgess, he lived for 30 years. He started his translation from the French, and in that city he may have learned the infant art of printing. In 1476, he established himself in London as a printer, where they began to issue a series of books that laid the foundation of English printing. The first book printed in England was the Dictes and Sayings of the Philosophers, 1477. The main part of the volume was the work of Lord Rivers, but Caxton was his habit revised it for the press. It would be difficult to overstate time the depth of English literature to Caxton. He printed almost every English work of real quality known in his day, including Chaucer, Malory. In addition, he made and printed 24 translations from French, Dutch, and Latin texts, of which the most remarkable were two earliest, the Requel of the Histories of Troy, 1471, and the Game and Play of the Chase, 1475. The introduction of many of his books are of great personal and general interest, and show him to have been very conscious of his limitation as a literary artist, anxious to use the elegant ornament and literary style he found himself unqualified to do so, and decided to write in English not uttered rude, ne Europus, but in pseudo-terms as shall be understood by Godwin's grace. Within quote. Even so, his style is marred by a very involved and confused sentence structure which he never mastered, and a tendency to introduce foreign words and phrases which he neglected to translate. And the third is John Fisher, from 1459 to 1535. John Fisher was born in Yorkshire about 1459, was educated at Cambridge and entered the church. In due course, he became Bishop of Rochester. During the time the Reformation, he opposed Henry VI's desire to be acknowledged as the head of the English Church and was imprisoned in the Tower. While there was made a cardinal by the Pope, and he was beheaded by the orders of Henry. Fisher wrote much in Latin, and in English he is represented by a small collection of tracts and sermons and a longer treatise on the Psalms. Though they are of no great quantity, his prose works are there in nature of much importance. They are the first of the rhetorical religious books that for several centuries were to be an outstanding feature of English prose. In addition, they show a decided advance in the direction of style. They are written in the style of the orator and are the result of the conscious efforts of the stylish, the searching after the appropriate word, often apparent by the use of two or three words of like meaning. The fragment use of rhetorical figures of speech and rapid and flowing rhythm. In brief, in the style of Fisher, we can observe the beginning of an ornate style. It is still in the making, but it is the direct ancestor of the prose style of Jeremy Taylor and other divines of the same class. The next prose writer is Hugh Latimer, 1485 to 1555. Was born in Leicestershire, educated at Cambridge, and rose to be chaplain to Henry VII and Bishop of Worcester. He resisted some of the reforms of Henry and was imprisoned in the Tower and was released on the death of the king. At the accession of Mary, he was once again thrown into jail and was burnt at Oxford. Latimer's English prose works consist of 2 volumes of sermons published in 1549. They are remarkable for their plain and dogmatic exposition, their graphical power, their homely appeal. He is the first of the writers of the plain style. The next is Sir Thomas More, and at the last. Sir Thomas More was born in London 1475 to 1535 and was the son of a judge. He was educated in London, attached to the household of the Archbishop of Canterbury, and became a lawyer. A man of eager and aspiring mind, he fell under the influence of Erasmus, Colet, and the other humanists of the period. For a time he sat in Parliament and saw state service. His refusal to accept the Act of Supremacy led to his imprisonment, and he was beheaded in the following year. Owing to their elegance and wit, his Latin works are of unusual importance. They include his Utopia, the description of his imaginary ideal state. This book was not translated into English until 1551 and so does not count as an English work of More's. His English prose includes the Lufe of John Picus, the History of Richard III, and a number of tracts and letters. He writes ably and clearly, but with no great distinction of manner. He is the first writer of the middle style. Okay, so that's all for today's video. These are the prose writer of the age from Chaucer to Spenser. If you like this video and if you find any helpful in this video, do like, share and comment your opinion. Bye bye till then.